Top 10 Best Video Games of 2021. 2021 has been a year with a lot of blessings for gamers, with a variety of games coming with ray tracing support, as well as a transformation in the gaming world with the newest consoles from Sony and Microsoft. This transition has been nothing short of historic. The pandemic has transformed us into a country of indoor children, addicted to our sofas and computers and avoiding human interaction as much as possible. Games have not only been a useful way to pass the time, but they have also kept us linked to individuals we could no longer see or speak with in person. Games were available to you. Don't forget about them now that you're free to live your life. In this video, we're going to show you the best video games of 2021 yet. So here are the finest new games released in 2021 thus far. Number 10. Chivalry 2. Chivalry 2 is a third-person sword-fighting game that is full of more arcade than its rivals, and therefore far more entertaining than any of them. There's a lot more to it than just tapping square to swing a sword. There's also axe hurling and bow shooting. The online game is violent, thrilling, and has a ton of customizing possibilities. Even while there aren't as many maps as there should be for a full game right now, the geography and architecture on the present maps are fantastic, and players may spend thousands of hours exploring them. Number 9. Guilty Gear Strive. Strive isn't recommended for novices because there's a lot more to it than just pressing buttons, and it's more like Street Fighter than Tekken in that regard. The Guilty Gear series, on the other hand, has always been underappreciated in the fighting game genre, and Strive is no exception, despite being probably the finest in the series. The anime-style animation has never looked better, the soundtrack has never sounded better, and the stadiums have never been more detailed. And, while being a touch short, the narrative mode is fantastic, and it's much more gratifying for those who are well-versed in Guilty Gear mythology. Number 8. Hitman 3. According to Metacritic, Hitman 3 is not just one of the finest games of the year, but it is also the best Hitman game of all time. The third installment of the rebooted series is the ultimate Hitman experience, since all of the levels are massive. There are several various ways to assassinate targets, and it contains some of the most ludicrous disguises yet. The choices are unlimited, from real estate salesperson to tango musician. There are also some of the most memorable maps in the series, such as the English Manor in Dartmoor and the Burj Al Ghazali in Dubai, which are all free to explore. Number 7. Monster Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Rise has a lot of world building, and the game is like a sponge when it comes to players' time, soaking up dozens of hours of playtime. Taking down monsters feels very rewarding, especially since each monster has a unique weak place that players must discover, and there are so many interesting designs for the creatures as well. The inclusion of the wire allows players to ascend mountains and explore the globe more quickly than previously, which is fantastic given that the game's open world isn't especially intriguing. And while some may argue that there isn't enough content in Monster Hunter Rise, it's really gratifying, and the addition of monster riding is the most exciting addition to the series yet. Number 6. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Rift Apart, the first genuine reason to purchase a PlayStation 5, is an improvement on a formula that has worked for 19 years. It's flamboyant and endearing. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it will discuss trauma and disability, as well as concerns of belonging and imposter syndrome, in ways that are basic enough to appeal to children while still being honest enough to resonate with adults. And, while being totally predictable, it manages to be really amusing at moments, connecting stereotype to cliché in a tapestry wrapped in other tropes. It's a basic game, yet it's shockingly sincere and caring. This charm and compassion are what propel this huge showy sci-fi frolic forward and help elevate movie beyond a mere comedy. Number 5. It Takes Two. It Takes Two isn't exactly Game of the Year material, but it's about a marriage unlike any other. It Takes Two is one of the most visually and narratively stunning 2D platformers ever created, with characters Mary and Cody working together to return to reality. As there are stages that take place within a kaleidoscope and in outer space, The game boasts the greatest inventiveness and ingenuity in a 2D game that isn't from Nintendo's brilliant mind. The best part is that none of the gameplay is ever rehashed, since each level is entirely unique in terms of presentation and gameplay mechanics. It Takes Two is like lightning in a bottle, with nothing else like it on the market. Number 4. Valheim. Driving need is central to the survival crafting genre, with games typically use scarcity as a motivator for the player. Valheim completely abandons this idea, instead encouraging players to share their resources with one another for the benefit of everyone. It's refreshing to experience a game that simultaneously discourages and discredits individualism in a genre that so often valorizes it. Valheim has built a survival game that has changed the genre's rules for the better based on concepts provided by Terraria. Number 3. Resident Evil Village. Resident Evil Village, Capcom's beast of a 2021 entry, provided fans of the franchise a taste of all the Resident Evil world has to offer: jump scares, scary pursuit sequences, and even some kick-ass gunplay. Ethan Winter's quest for his stolen daughter has several wonderful references to previous Resident Evil games, while still keeping things fresh for novices to the series. The game was criticized for being more action-oriented than most other Resident Evil titles, although this did not detract from the game's popularity in the least. Number 2. Returnal. Returnal was one of the most difficult games of the year, as well as one of the most successful releases for the PlayStation 5. This unusual roguelike platforming shooter kept gamers frustratedly happy with its creative use of haptic feedback on the DualSense controller, a compelling narrative, and superb level design execution. Standing in the rain and feeling the rains on your controller is an amazing sensation that Returnal nailed. The sound design also transferred many of the weapon's tasty clicks and reloads to the gamepad speaker, making the game much more immersive. The popularity of Returnal propelled PlayStation well ahead in the console competition. Sony has bought developer Housemarque, welcome them to the PlayStation Studios family. Number 1. Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. Though Super Mario 3D World isn't a wholly unique game, it has been thoroughly updated and now looks better than ever and has far better gameplay mechanics than it did in 2013. And Super Mario 3D World's iconic stages are totally intact, since there are so many unique gameplay twists in every level, whether it's turning huge, being led by music, or playing as several Mario doppelgangers at the same time. It nearly feels like a rough draft for a future full-fledged Mario game, making it one of the most fascinating entries in the never-ending series. Despite being less polished than you'd expect from the typically spotless Mario, it's still a fantastically planned game that's well worth playing. Which is your favorite game released in 2021 so far? Tell us in the comments below. If you liked our video, make sure to hit the like button. And if you would like to watch more of these videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We will see you later with another video. Until then, goodbye.